This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. So I got tempted again to try this, which is essentially the cheapest Dumble clone that is around. It's the VHT D50. I think this is a clone of circuit number 102. I think a VHT representative kind of said that it had been kind of mislabeled as 183. None of that really matters. It's a Dumble kind of circuit topology clone, hand-wired in China, so not the highest quality Dumble clone that you could get, and obviously not a real Dumble. We've got a Grammatico GSG model in the Helix, which is what I wanted to kind of try and see how close I could get to with it. The thing about this particular tone is that the volume that I'm running the amp at, if it was in the room without a load box, would actually be pretty ear splitting. It was master up at about halfway, and the volume and drive pretty much cranked. So I've tried to kind of match it in that way. I don't know, I'll put in the very intro there, I kind of put a couple of short clips where you could maybe try and get a sense for which you think was the real amplifier. I'm now, after this kind of chatty bit, going to show you with it actually on screen. I feel like that the tiny bit that is missing, and I don't know, you let me know if you feel the same way. To me, that the Helix model, with the settings that I've got it on, sounds a little bit closed off in comparison. And also the thing that is happening with the real amp, and this is the thing I guess that people are talking about when they talk about like an amp feel and touch responsiveness and that sort of stuff, is that as I back off picking volume, it seems like the notes continue to jump out a little bit, versus on the Helix model with the settings that I've got, which is the caveat, which is important because there are other settings. You know, this is a manual kind of human task that I've tried to match it, and there are other people that can do a much better job of this than me. John, I'm looking at you. But, you know, being able to get this sort of tone without having to have the £1,000 amplifier, and without having to have ear-splitting volume, I think is quite a good thing. I'm going to show you the settings, but yeah, that was the one kind of little nuance that I'm finding that I'm missing, is that kind of pick attack seems to me to be a little bit more forward with the amplifier. I've tried various different settings, and I'm now hours into sort of tweaking this tone. Again, for this sort of thing, I'm always now kind of thinking, well, I sort of regret, if I did have a great tone here in this situation, wouldn't it just be easier to have something like a Quad Cortex or a Kemper Profile and then sort of tweak, take a capture, 5 minutes, sort of job done? And for that sort of thing, I still think there is a great reason for profiling existing at all. But the model, I think, in the Helix does end up coming up sounding pretty sweet, I think. And realistically, is there a small percentage in there which I think is a little bit different for these kind of single note things? Probably, but, you know, horses for courses, I guess. Let me know if you thought you got close. I'm going to show you the settings now in case you want to copy these for your own kind of Helix, and I'll also drop this preset up into the Gumroad for you if it's the sort of Dumble tone that you're into. For me, this is what it is about. For me personally, like these touch responsive but also pretty singing Dumble drive tones, which for me come with the volume and the drive up pretty high. So yeah, let me know what you think. For me personally, I did a little bit of experimentation with this, and I found that actually my interface with the input gain set at 0 is about 2 dB quieter. So here's how I sort of compensated for that, just upping the input here by about 2 dB. That kind of gives you a little bit more. Of course, this is actually, you know, a slightly different amplifier even. It's based on the Grammatico GSG, which I think is a different Dumble circuit altogether, as well as being a physically different amplifier with actually quite a lot higher quality components. But I still feel like the real amp that I've got in the room here, I marginally prefer what I ended up with, I think. So the drive at 7.4 is what I went for, the bass at 3.9, the mids at 4.8, the treble at 4, presence at 4, channel volume at 3.9, and master volume at 5.1. The mid switch off, the jazz rock switch to rock, the OD switch on, OD drive at 8.7, OD level at 4.7, bright switch in position 2, which is bright 1, if that makes sense. Off would be position 1, bright 2. The FET boost and the preamp bypass are both off, and I've got the sag set to 3.6, which I think is stock settings. The rest of the chain looks like this, in case you don't want to jump up into the Gumroad and support in that way. But we got a 67 condenser, 3.9 away, 1 inch away from the cone, and the high cut here set to 8.5 kilohertz, which is higher than I would normally have it, just so that we can actually hear what those differences are in the kind of higher end frequencies. And then my normal delay settings for my kind of lead tones, 23, 23, etc. 375, 500, 71, 62. And then the glitz reverb here, decay at 5.1, 1 millisecond, etc. Mix at 22%. So that's kind of that. That's the preset. I guess what we could do with that, we could modify that and add in some bits and pieces if we felt like it needed more. Maybe, I don't know, why not stick in front a Zen drive, for instance? I don't know, would this do anything for us? Maybe. Or for me personally, what I might do would be to add in a red squeeze compressor. Just a couple of ideas there for how I might enhance that. But in terms of actually getting pretty close to that real amp in the room, in a way that I might not be able to replicate again, that was kind of as close as I could get it as a, you know, flawed human without golden ears. So I'll now drop in a sort of switch in between the two and put it up on screen in case you want to see that sort of thing. Let me know in the comments if you guessed correctly. And I'll tell you right now, the order of the first clips in the introduction, I was first playing the real amp, and then the second clip you would have heard was the Helix for each of those. So that's the little reveal for you. And let me know how you did with that. What is it that you think is the giveaway for you, where you can tell that it's the Helix if you can, or do you think it's minimal? I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers.